Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining our Facebook Live today. I am Gabby, joined here with Bridget Barnes, as always, our common sense parenting expert. And today we are helping you get ready for the holidays. So, Christmas is less than a week away, a little. How many days left? Is it 9 at this point?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
nine
think so.
days. Well, so a
Uh-huh.
little bit over a week, but less than 10 days. And
Uh-huh.
we know that this time of year is super stressful for parents and kids alike. So, we are going to talk through some ways to keep your home low stress this holiday season. And in case you missed it, we did do a Facebook Live on the Boys Town National Hotline page last week. And that one's all about helping your kids keep their stress levels low over their holiday break. So make sure you watch that one too, and I'll link it in the comments. But as we go through our discussion today, if you have any questions for Bridget as it relates to this topic, feel free to comment them and we can get them answered at the end. So, Bridget, how are you feeling about the upcoming holidays?
I'm feeling joyous, really, to be quite honest with you. I think I always try to be hopeful about what's coming up for the new year. That's just kind of me.
That's good.
And so I really am feeling very hopeful and calm. I don't know what that's about. I don't know what that is, but I think as I get older and just a little wiser about what I should just kind of put aside and what things that are important to me, just take joy in those things.
Totally. Yeah, that's great. So, in your experience over the years working with many parents and families alike, does the holiday season typically hold higher stress levels than the rest of the year?
Yes, very much so. Very much so. Parents
Yeah,
are doing a lot, and there's a lot of things going on, a lot of events happening. There might be travel involved. They feel pressured to get the right gifts and is the meal going to be okay? And if they're hosting it, that brings about a lot of other things if people are staying in your home and so on and so forth. So yes, it is a stressful time, and they can see that their children get a little stressed out as well if there's a travel involved, and they get kind of more anxious and have a lot more tantrums and meltdowns than at other times of the year.
hmm. So, what strategies would you recommend parents be using to reduce their stress this time of year?
Well, I think it's always a good idea to set some reasonable expectations for yourself.
Yeah.
So try to think about what are some priorities and some things that your immediate family really loves to do at this time of year,
Hmm.
and put that on the top of your list to do. Sometimes we just overextend ourselves and say yes, yes, yes to doing a lot of things. And we've been kind of, in our houses all this
Yeah.
time. And so we're wanting to get out there, and we can overextend ourselves and burn ourselves out a little bit. And the holidays won't be so joyful if we do
Right.
that. So I would put those on the top of the list. And then other things, extended family, friends, those come after that. But make sure you have time to spend with your kiddos and that do things that are important to you. Be okay with saying no.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Sometimes,
hard. It's so hard when, everyone's having a holiday party and, you don't want to upset anybody, but it's totally true.
no, it's fine. If you say, I'm definitely going to try it for next year,
Yeah.
send over a bottle of wine, nobody will be unhappy with you.
Yeah.
Or, uh, a gift that maybe goes for you, but you don't have to go, whether it be a pie or cake or something like that, and you just deliver it early and say, we just have this other thing that's conflicting or overlapping, and I don't want to run in. I remember doing those popcorn calls, and you're trying to get out, and then they're feeling like you just came for this and now you're leaving. So I try not to do that to myself anymore, and I just go ahead of time, visit with that person, give them the gift or the thing I want them to have for their event, and then I don't go.
That's good. Yeah, so that's a great boundary to set. Do you have any other ideas for setting more healthy boundaries when things get really stressful around the holidays?
Slow down. You
Hmm.
know, I always have a kind of a slow down period in my day where, it's okay to just veg out and do a little bit of nothing
Yeah.
during the day and schedule that in your day. It's not the least important thing to do. It is one of the most important things to do so that you can be energized to do the rest of your holiday shopping or cooking or visiting or whatever the case may be. Make sure you kind of put some emergency time in your day when things are going to have a meltdown, where things are going to be slowed up, or maybe there's an emergency that happens that eats up some time. So try to schedule that into your day if you can, and or expect that it will happen. Expect there will be things that you don't expect that will happen in your day. And when it does, don't get yourself flustered by it, but say, okay, I kind of expected this would happen. I knew something would happen. I'm going to take a deep breath, blow it out, and kind of move things around. So I try not to clutter up my holidays with a
Hmm.
lot of things so they just have a little bit more breathing room in case things should go awry, right?
Right. And like you said, even these special holiday memories with our families can be made while we're just, all laying on the couch watching a Christmas movie.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
everything has to be this big, elaborate celebration. It's often in those little moments that we kind of find those special times. So keeping them low stress that way is a great idea too.
Yeah, I kind of like to have um, a big event so that we can remember it. If
Yes.
everything is a big event, then nothing is big,
Right.
right? And
Yeah.
so I kind of like to start out with something really cool that we do, something very intimate that we do, something a little bit bigger in a bigger gathering, whether it be with family or whatever that we do. So we have these kind of, you know, big events and then more intimate time together. And we do little things like journaling,
Mm-hmm. Cute.
what mean what it might mean to us each day during the holiday, and sharing that at dinner. I think that's always good. Always, you can go to our Boys Town site. They have, a calm down kit that you can download, and definitely get some tips about, how to stay calm, because you don't want to be yelling at kids all the time during
Mhm.
your holiday seasons. So definitely try to get some slow down time and have some breathing room. Make sure you get some rest and eat well. And I always try to include my exercise in my holiday, even if I'm traveling.
Yeah.
I try to, yeah, it might not be the same thing I always do, but I just try to put that hour or at least 30 minutes that I am taking care of me.
Totally. Even just like going on a walk, I find is really nice. And besides the wind in Omaha, we had, some warm weather recently, so that's surprising for us at least. But
70 degrees yesterday. We were
it's like,
like, what is
oh,
going on here?
yeah, as long as it's not too windy. But that's
Yes, it was very windy.
yeah, even 30 minutes, walk the dog, get away from all the hustle and bustle, and that can kind of help you reset. So that's great. Great
Yeah.
advice there. So, when we're talking about our kids, a lot of the times when we're explaining to them, okay, we're going to grandma's tonight and then Aunt Megan's tomorrow and Uncle Bill's next week, they're like, "Mom, I don't want to go to all this. Like, what can we do then?" And to keep them from getting stressed and overwhelmed with all that's going on.
Mhm. Well, again, if you plan out, what are our priorities? We want to go to Uncle Bill's, and why? So when the kids are a part of it, and we have here at Boys Town a thing we call the family meeting, and hopefully families do more of that, where they sit down and talk about what's going to happen. When
Hmm.
you tell children things on the fly, like this is what you're going to do, and you're running out the door, they're going to resist you. They're not going to be cooperative. But if you sit down and say, okay, this is the holiday events we're going to do, let's vote on the ones that are most important to us. Okay, here are the things that we have to do. These are the things that we want to do, and here's some things that we could do, and then kind of put them in little pots, and then the kids have a voice. There will be some things that maybe they have to do that they don't particularly like, and there'll be things that you'll have to do with them that you don't particularly like, but that's okay. Everybody gets a voice, everybody's involved, and you all agree not to overwhelm each other with just going everywhere.
Yeah. So we did just link here in the comment section the family meeting. So highly, highly recommend you check that out and give it a read before the craziness of next week comes. So, when it comes to discipline around the holidays, how can we make it the most effective with the least amount of effort slash time? So, for example, this mom says, I don't want to be telling my kids to stop messing with the presents under the tree over and over and over.
Yeah, yeah. Well, for me, I always put fake boxes underneath the tree. The real gifts are not always there, and Santa will bring the real ones. You can shake it all you like, but there's
Right?
nothing in
Nothing in
those.
there.
Just to save myself, after all these years, I'm like,
Yeah,
kids are kids. They're gonna
they're
look at that
stupid.
box and want to go over there, and so why do I set them up to fail? So
Right.
that's what I do. But I definitely, talk to kids about, what's the expectation. And when you do something you shouldn't be doing, or you're not doing something that you should be doing, or you are doing something that's dangerous to somebody else or yourself, then I'm going to correct you about that. And usually, when I correct kids, I do it as soon as I start seeing the behavior. I don't keep warning kids over and over again because that tells them really in kid language, I got a couple more times to do this before she gets serious.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm actually training them to limit test me. So we correct them while the behavior is small, then I only have to do a little bit of correction like this mom is asking. She just wants to catch things while they're small or as early as
right.
possible. And then I just have kids redo things or undo things. So you're running through the house, chasing after your sister. I say, come over here. Okay, Gabby, I want you to go back to the door and walk to me.
Calmly. Mm-hmm.
There you go. Good job. You called your sister Boo Boo Head. What's her name? Shelly.
Yeah,
Okay. Let's use her name again. And then I send them on their way. It's not
right.
time out every time I look at a kid. It's just undo their behavior, redo their behavior,
Correctly.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, and kids are so clever too. I know a lot of the time they think, oh, well, mom and dad have company over, so they're not going to want to yell at me in front of the guests. So,
Oh,
what advice do you have for that if they think that they
mhm.
can just get away with stuff when people are around
Yeah.
besides their family?
Yeah. Kids are smart. They figure out what you will and will not do. But,
Yeah.
I will correct you at any point in time because I'm not going to yell at you. I am going to
Right.
teach you. So my correction here, Boys Town, we learned that correcting kids is just an opportunity to teach them.
Yeah.
And I get my point across without yelling. And so I'm not as stressed out as a parent who is spending a lot of time yelling at children. So
Mhm.
I would just say, take a deep breath, calm yourself down, sit the child down. When you're calm, then start teaching. I'll always teach when you're calm and not when you're upset. And some of that might have nothing to do with that kid and more to do with you having a lot on your plate. And now that child just moves a little to the left, doing something he shouldn't be doing. And now you're yelling. So,
Right. Yeah.
mhm.
That's great. So the next question is, what kind of healthy habits do you recommend implementing to keep stress levels low? So we talked a little bit about exercise and, taking
Mhm.
breaks, but any other ideas?
Well, I do believe that exercise, sleep is very important. We here in this country, we just don't get enough sleep. I saw this book this morning, The Sleep Fix. I was like, I got to go buy that. All of us should work on that. And I think sometimes we stress out about things. We think, we're. Have you ever woke up in the middle of the night thinking about something you want to do, and especially during the
Oh,
holidays,
yes.
right? Yes, and
Yeah.
it deserves.
I have
Yeah.
even told some of my coworkers that I sometimes keep a notepad next to my bed because I'll wake up at, 2, 3 in the morning and think about something for work. And I know I won't remember it in the morning. And so I'm,
Mhm.
right. And then in the morning, I look at my notepad and I'm like, what in the world? And that applies to parenting too, I know. So,
Yeah, well, just put it in a kind of a bucket list. Like, this is really important on this side of my,
right.
page. And these are things that if I wake up about this, I'm going to just put a line through it and go, that's not the important thing. Go back to bed.
Yeah.
And so, really, just kind of not stressing out over things, and maybe just take a moment to sit down and say what's really important and what is not. Because sometimes you just let all the little bitty things during the holidays stress you out, keep you from sleeping, keep you from exercising correctly because you're dealing with all these little things. And then you start eating and putting things in your mouth to
Right.
comfort yourself, which
Stress
again,
eating.
yeah, it's a bad thing. So you'll want to avoid that kind of thing. And also, I hear from parents a lot, especially when the holidays is over, when they're over, Gabby. This is what I hear, that they've spent too much money.
Uh,
They're totally stressed out
yeah,
because now we have to pay the bill, right? Because we're spending, and so get a budget for the holiday and try to stick as closely to it as possible. And if you find a gift that you really wanted to buy, but it's over what you thought you were going to spend, maybe you're going to take away from the budget another area so that you don't feel stressed out because of the holidays. That's not what
right.
we want to spend the rest of our year, trying to figure out how to dig ourselves out of that. So,
Yeah. Yeah, even what I do with buying gifts a couple months ahead of Christmas, depending on what I'm anticipating to spend, I'll start putting away a little bit at a time. So then once December comes, I'm like, okay, well, I have X amount and I can't go over it because I've been working towards this amount to spend. So I know it can be hard too when you have, so many kids who want an array of things. And oftentimes, I mean, I know I was talking to another mom who they're like, my son really wants this PS5 and all of his friends are getting the PlayStation and whatnot, but I just do not have it in the budget to spend however much it is on this one
mhm.
gift. So kind of explaining that to kids can be hard too. So
Yeah.
mhm.
And they might not like the answer, and of
Yeah,
course they'll ask you if you can buy it and continue to ask you that. But I would let kids, when they start thinking about the holidays, I really started thinking about it before the holidays begin. So if you're
right.
just not thinking about it, then you are going to be a little bit more stressed out. So
Yeah,
if kids want to buy something, buy gifts, they have to you know think about that kind of in January, and then start saving up for buying that gift. And if they want something from me, they need to put it on that Christmas list, and then we put money in the Christmas savings account for that gift.
yeah,
Now, so I think that will reduce also some of that stress, is knowing what you're getting yourself into, and kids knowing this was what was on the list, and that was what my parents said okay to. This other thing that is going to cost $1,000 or 300 or whatever it is,
right.
I got to know, and I had to think of something else that was on my list. So
Yeah,
my number two.
right. That's great. So, Bridget, we did link a few different resources in the comment section for how to lower stress levels this holiday season. But I wanted to ask you, is there anything else that you think parents should be using or doing? Are there any common sense parenting classes coming up in the new year that we can look forward to?
Oh yeah, we're going to have lots of parenting classes in the new year for parents, and we see a lot of parents signing up for classes around that time.
Yeah,
Some will be online, and some will be face to face in your community. Just go onto our registration page, and they should be listed there right now for the entire first quarter, January, February, and March. But we will have those up there. Um, and they're available in Lincoln. We have some online for Grand Island. We have classes, of course, here in Omaha, but we're willing to serve wherever parents are.
hmm. So those classes were just linked here in the comments. And I wanted to ask too if there are any topics that you would like to see us talk about next year for our third Thursdays. Please comment or message our page and let us know because we always, want to be talking about timely things that are helping all of our viewers. So um, just let us know. And please share this video if you can with all of your fellow parent friends so they can learn these stress reducing skills as well. So, Bridget, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and I hope everybody has a joyful and a hopeful and a connected holiday season. Please go up to our site. I know there's lots of depression and suicide ideation during this time for children and for parents. This is a great packet, what every parent should know that you could get on our website. But I wish you all a happy holiday and a happy New Year's as well. See you
Yes.
next time.
We'll see you next year. I was waiting all this whole time to say that. So, see you next year.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye.